Silver is looking pretty good today, even though it didn't move a whole lot in the markets. I'm going to explain why we are happy about silver today. And did you see what rhodium did? Oh yeah, it had quite a day. Let's talk about it as we explore. That's right. The market did not move a whole lot, but silver, it did move up slightly. Moments before the markets closed, silver is in the green. And you know, I always like to celebrate when we see silver stay above a critical level, and that's $38. Now, there is a little bit of a caveat to that. There's 12 cents worth of difference between the bid and the ask price. Right now, silver is sitting at $38.07, up 2 cents right now. And the bid price is at $37.95. So the technicals and the support, I think it's really hovering around the bid price more than the ask price. But we'll take it in the ask price for sure and still declare a little bit of a victory here. Although it would be nice to see both numbers above that $38 mark. So what's behind this? Well, there's not a whole lot of information. It's relatively a slow news day, but this is where the opportunity comes in. Because when we saw a little bit of a dip, there's some buyers that are coming in the market right now. And by the way, the channel is sponsored by Summit Metals. Now, Summit Metals does not pay me to tell you to go buy silver from them. They really essentially want me to put their name out there, and they want you to do your own research before buying from anyone. But you know, when you think about a dealer, it's not always just about price. It's about the customer service and the attention to detail in your order and fast shipping that I think is paramount, although they do have competitive prices on some of their products. And so whenever that dip is there, and the next time your budget allows, and you go to make a purchase, consider Summit Metals as well as you do your research and as your budget allows. Now, there are more buyers happening. They're seeing buyers on the dips, according to this piece here from FX Empire. So we're seeing buyers on the dips, and they're looking to see a market that will eventually do what it can to get back up to the $39 level. The $39 level. Think about that for a moment. It's been a little while since we've been there, but essentially the market is sort of thinking that we're going to get there soon, or at some point here in the coming weeks and months. In spite of what's going on here, I think maybe even and because of what's going on geopolitically right now. There are talks to try to end this Russia-Ukraine war. The market continues to see a lot of support, especially at the $37.50 level below as well. And obviously, we're above that now in the bid price. But $38 would be a nice level to see continue to shine on. Now, technically, the silver market had initially pulled back just a bit in the early hours Monday, but it had turned around quite nicely to show signs of life. The $37.50 level underneath continues to offer support, as we have seen not only here today, but we also saw that on Friday. Then we have the 50-day EMA racing towards that area that could offer support as well. The $39 price mark is above a bit of a target, as it is a large, round, psychologically significant figure. And it's the last number before the big 40. That's right. And as most of you are aware, I've revised my price predictions for silver's price by the end of the year to now $41 an ounce. I think we're going to get there. Of course, I could be wrong, but I'm feeling pretty good and fairly bullish on silver. But I like to be realistic and keep myself in check with my feelings on silver. I want to be fair-minded about it because I don't want to lead anybody astray. But no matter what I say on this channel, and no matter what my feelings are, which I think are rooted mostly in what I'm seeing in the market and the things that can affect the price and what has been affecting the price, you should always do your own due diligence and research for yourself when and how to buy silver, and really essentially basically timing those buys. And remember that whenever you buy silver in physical form, you are going to suffer paying premiums, and those premiums certainly can be painful, especially if you need to sell in an inopportune time. It's a losing proposition to buy silver and to sell it within the next couple of days after receiving your order. Mainly because nobody's going to pay you spot for most of your silver these days because there's a glut of it at local coin shops. Keep that in mind, folks. It is not a seller's market for you. It is a buyer's market, though, because premiums are relatively low for many types of silver, especially if you shop around for the best prices. And so it's an area that we're starting to see now, this $39 target. It is something that we're seeing. It's an area where we've seen some selling pressure when it reaches $39. We've seen that in the past twice recently. And we've also seen more sideways, been more sideways than anything else. We've kind of reached sort of a plateau here with silver, at least for the time being. And so the analysis with the wedge pattern that's kind of forming here, we need to build up some necessary momentum before we go higher. And breaking down the 50-day estimated moving average, then we could see this market drop to the $36 level if it breaks down below that. But it's a very bullish market overall. I think most would agree with that. And it's a market that will continue to be noisy, as is typically the case. And I've always encouraged folks that no matter what the price of silver does, hold on at the very least. You may not feel comfortable buying, but I think if you can afford to hold on to your silver, and because you don't want to lose more of these whenever you go to sell it. Price is important when you go to sell your silver, but when you think about silver in terms of what it does over the long term, it does preserve your wealth, and that's really paramount at the level of understanding with that. And especially when we see that it has a negative correlation to the U.S. dollar, and ultimately it's an industrial metal that you need to pay close attention to because of the global economy. And we're starting to see somewhat of a slowdown, at least globally. And it could be a bit of a drag on the price of silver. And that's another thing, too, because it pushes and pulls. When the economy is doing good globally, that means demand for silver is going to pick up, and it's already under stress right now. We see what's happening with the LBMA and the COMEX vaults, and the pressures we've seen there in other areas. And so good economic news is also going to be good for silver. Bad economic news is going to be good for silver eventually. Gold, typically, silver does follow gold to some extent, but nonetheless, there are times when it doesn't, and that's why the ratio is so high right now, because we've seen that widening of the gold to silver ratio. So it's very interesting and fascinating. Let's talk a little bit about rhodium now. Yeah, rhodium has now climbed up. It is the winner of the day of the metals. It's up over 2% today, a surge in price, up $150 to $7,900. Now, the bid price is $7,450. That's right, quite a very different spread between the bid and ask, which means it's a very volatile metal. And they've leapt pretty strong because of what's happening. A lot of it is based off of the fundamentals that are assigned with platinum and palladium. And platinum is actually down today, and palladium is flat. So sometimes they don't trade in tandem with each other. But rhodium is built up now to a point now where it is up. It has climbed up there. And a lot of that is because it is used for automakers as a catalyst. It is part of that. And so there's demand for it in that area. It's used as a catalyst in other areas as well, too, as plating jewelry, gold, silver jewelry, and the like. And so there is some of that. The fundamentals for platinum and palladium also apply to rhodium, mainly mined in Siberia and also in South Africa. And really, in a sense, when we've seen a couple of years where the prices have been depressed, it's fascinating to see it move and climb up again. Still a long ways to go to its all-time high, which is indeed of $29,000 an ounce. But rhodium has certainly shown some bright spots here today, going up. And another thing that is happening here is China's subsidies are fueling essentially involuntary competition in the auto sector, according to RHG.com. And the auto subsidies may be contributing to price wars and entrenching involuntary competition within the industry. And setting subsidies as fixed nominal levels encourages buyers to choose lower priced cars to maximize discount. Of course, more cars that are sold, and that is more demand for rhodium there. So It's very fascinating to see that occurring. We're going to keep an eye on rhodium. I think it's got a long ways to go to reach back to its all-time high again, but I think probably we're going to see prices stay around this area because it's such a small, tiny, fragile market. And so we'll see how this plays out. But very, very fascinating indeed. We'll cover it here. I like to bring you the latest news in the world of precious metals. If you enjoy what I do here, and I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. And with that being said, I want to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.